Good evening. I'm Jim Vaughn.
I'm Wendy Davis. Welcome to the 69 News special made in the Lehigh Valley, the road to the Superdome.
As you can see, we have gone green for the occasion. Note the Studio Eagles green, the apparel. The excitement is building just a few days from Super Bowl Sunday. And even if you're not an Eagles fan or even a football fan at all, you can't help but root for the two local guys on the Birds roster.
Absolutely. We can't recall any time before when the Lehigh Valley had two local players on the same team at the same time, yet alone the home team, going for the Vince Lombardi Trophy.
It's pretty remarkable, and over the next 60 minutes, we're going to be celebrating that fact. We'll be talking all about Saquon Barkley and Jahan Dotson and their journey from playing high school football here in the Lehigh Valley to college ball in Happy Valley, and now, of course, the big time, the NFL and the Super Bowl. We will be hearing from their fans, from their families, from their local coaches, and from two big-time athletes themselves along the way.
That's right. So let's dig in. Saquon Barkley has been electric this year for the Eagles, but before he was a bird, he was a Zephyr right here in Whitehall.
That's right. Dane Murray is joining us here with equally festive green apparel and more on the rise of Saquon from just a kid in Copley to now, Dane, really the best running back on the entire planet.
Kind of crazy, right? No doubt that Saquon Barkley is a big reason, if not the reason, the Eagles are one win away from a Super Bowl championship. He's now just 30 yards shy of breaking the NFL single-season rushing record. So how did we get here? Barkley was born in 1997 in the Bronx, New York. His family moved to the Lehigh Valley in 2001, eventually settling in Copley. He played basketball and football and also lettered in track and field at Whitehall High School. But of course, as we know, it was football where he truly found his footing. He wore number 21 for the Zephyrs. Barkley received lots of scholarship offers and then ultimately chose Penn State University. Saquon made a lot of noise in Happy Valley. He finished his career as Penn State's all-time rushing touchdown and total touchdown record holder. Saquon entered the NFL draft in 2018 and was scooped up by the Giants as the second overall pick. He was named the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. He struggled with some injuries with his time with the Giants, but then in March of 2024, Eagles fans, we got word that Saquon was moving into the nest. He talked about how excited he was to be playing close to home.
It's a blessing that for Thanksgiving or Christmas, I can go right to my mama's house or we can go to Nana's house. You know, my kids can see their grandparents, my kids can see their aunts and uncles and cousins.
All right, now let's talk about wide receiver Jahan Dotson. He was born in the year 2000 in Newark, New Jersey. His family later moved to the Nazareth area where he suited up as number 5 for the Blue Eagles. Jahan actually left Nazareth area high school his junior year to attend the Petty Prep School in New Jersey. He fractured his right leg that season while playing quarterback for Petty. But the next year, his senior year, well, he was back in Nazareth. Like Saquon, he excelled as a Nittany Lion at Penn State. Jahan was drafted by the Washington Commanders in the first round of the 2022 NFL Draft and then traded to the Eagles last year. Wendy and Jim, back over to you.
Very good. Thank you, Dane. Well, Saquon and Jahan arrived in New Orleans on Sunday with the rest of the Eagles, and this week has been a flurry of practices and lots of media events.
Yeah, really has. The 69 News sports team is in the Big Easy. They've been covering it all this week. Let's join them now live. Sports Director Dan Moscaritolo and Dave Lesko are joining us from outside the Superdome. Hey, guys.
Hello there, Jim and Wendy. Pretty nice, comfortable night out here in New Orleans, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's a little breezy, but it's muggy. It's been muggy this week. You like the temperature. And
yeah.
Unfortunately, you guys had to deal with the snow, but it's pretty balmy down here.
Sorry, guys, not to rub it in too much, but hey, here we are in the Big Easy, ready to go to talk about Saquon Barkley and Jahan Dotson. We've had a chance to catch up with both guys at the various media sessions this week. Understandably, Saquon Barkley's podium has been awfully crowded pretty much every day.
Yeah, I was standing on a chair, and I still didn't get a shot. And unfortunately, you know, that's what happens when you go to these big-time, events. I mean, I'm kind of used to doing it down at the link,
right.
But, when you get to the Super Bowl, it's a whole nother level.
But Saquon Barkley has asked a ton of questions. He's been great with the media. Jahan Dotson, we've been able to get him a few times. He's told us all about his journey here and how grateful he is. And listen, new situation for him when this season began, getting traded over here and joining a really good wide receiver room.
Yeah, and I mean, he showed what he is made of when he had the opportunity in that Giants game. And unfortunately, he's behind two very good receivers,
right.
And there's only one football to go around, and obviously Saquon's going to get his touches. So hopefully, at some point in this Super Bowl, Jahan Dotson will do something special. I got a kind of like a Philly special part due kind of thing going on, maybe.
Here's both guys over the last few days on being from the 610 and having a chance to bring home that Lombardi Trophy.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Jahan about that last week. It was like, you know, we're literally from the Lehigh Valley and we're playing for the Philadelphia Eagles and have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Like, you know how many kids would love to say that, and when you hear that or you think about that, you just got to embrace it, take it all in, and live in the moment and enjoy it. But like I said, actually, the most important thing is going out there and winning that game.
We were just talking the other day on the bench. You know, it's crazy that two kids from two small towns in Pennsylvania are here on the biggest stage, living out their dreams. So it's awesome. You know, hopefully we can bring a Super Bowl ring back to the Lehigh Valley, represent well.
And maybe it'll parade itself twice through two different towns in the Lehigh Valley, the Lombardi Trophy.
That would be nice. Exactly. Yeah.
All right, for Dave, I'm Dan. That'll do it for now from the Caesars Superdome. We'll be checking back in a little bit. Jim and Wendy, back to you.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, guys. We're going to be looking back a lot at their time in high school here in the Lehigh Valley. Let's start with Saquon Barkley. He was a student at Whitehall High School from 2011 to 2015.
Yeah, it was his sophomore year playing football that the Whitehall community realized he was something special. 69 News reporter Michelle Wolf is live from his alma mater tonight with more on how Saquon, the student, transformed into the NFL powerhouse. Michelle.
And a powerhouse he is, Wendy and Jim. Humble, driven, competitive, and respectful. That's how Saquon Barkley's former teachers and coaches describe him. A well-rounded athlete on and off the field. A multi-talented athlete on a quest for greatness.
His competitiveness, his desire, his work ethic is phenomenal.
He's a special person. You know, when he comes back to Whitehall, you would have no idea that he's the best running back in the NFL. He's just Saquon to us.
Coaching Saquon was fun, you know, because he could do things that most people just can't do.
Saquon's intensity on the field equally matched in the classroom.
He was certainly one of the most inquisitive students I've ever had. He would take over a classroom and just ask questions, no matter what the topic was.
Lehigh County Executive Phil Armstrong remembers one of Barkley's first touchdowns as a Zephyr. Armstrong spent decades as the down marker for Whitehall football games and recalls Barkley barreling towards him.
Well, the first time he came at me, I dropped it, backed up. He stopped, cut, and went 80 yards for a touchdown. And I learned right then and there, this kid is going to be great.
He always had talent. I mean, he always had athletic ability as a wrestler, as a basketball player, football player. Didn't have a lot of basketball skill, but he outworked everybody on the court, rebounds, defense, and he ran track.
He's always been a great teammate. He's always cared for the others on his team. He's always supported the others on his team.
What we see today is from hard work and dedication throughout the years. You know, what he had to put in here at Whitehall to become, you know, one of the greatest high school players our area's ever seen.
Well, he just brings so much pride to the school.
Now, one of Saquon's former high school coaches told us this really cute story about his young son, and the first time he ever met Saquon, he was so nervous to shake his hand, and that's when Saquon knelt down to his level and taught him how to give a proper handshake, and it's a lesson that he's never forgotten. Live in Whitehall Township, Michelle Wolf, 69 News.
All right, thanks, Michelle. We'll see her again shortly. And, of course, that 610 pride they're feeling in Whitehall extends to Jahan Dotson's turf in Nazareth. The intermediate school is just one of the places showing its support for number 83. And we'll have a report from Michelle and Nazareth a little bit later in the show.
And just like Saquon, Jahan also suited up in football pads for the first time when he was just a little kid. He played Pee-wee football in Nazareth for the Clippers. His parents, Al and Robin, spoke to our Dan Moscaritolo recently, and they say the support the family has received from the Nazareth community has just been incredible.
The calls, the texts, the Facebook posts, and from elementary school on up, you know, because we started in Jersey, but we came here so young. So, like, we got our fans back home, you know, they support too, but here it's crazy.
That it is. Al and Robin say their son loves coming home when he can and making a difference in his hometown. Both Jahan and Saquon have suited up for the Devontae Smith Celebrity Softball game at Coca-Cola Park in Allentown. That raises money for local charities. And we'll have more on other ways these two are giving back. That's coming up a little bit later on in the show. But first, there are lots of ways to show your Eagles pride.
Yeah, you can check out this home in Spring Township, Berks County. No doubt who they will be rooting for on Sunday. Love the green. Our Made in the Lehigh Valley special will be back in just a moment with so much more about our two stars. First, here's some trivia to test your Saquon IQ. Catchy.
It is.
Our thanks to the Fleetwood Middle School for sharing this video of its symphonic band performing Fly Eagles Fly. Did you know the song was crafted back in the 1950s, but the original lyrics were Fight Eagles Fight. The version we know today didn't catch on until the late 90s.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
That's a fun fact.
It sure is. So welcome back to Made in the Lehigh Valley, the road to the Superdome.
If you were paying attention to our trivia question before the last commercial break, now you know that Saquon Barkley became a dad 2 days before he was drafted into the NFL. Sunday is another big day for him, and not just because it's his first ever Super Bowl, it's also his birthday. Saquon turns the big 2-8 on Super Bowl Sunday. He actually shares that birthday with Eagles cornerback rookie Cooper DeJean as well. And that's just one milestone after another for Saquon these days. Earlier this week, he announced his engagement to longtime girlfriend Anna Congdon. They met at Penn State University. They share 2 kids, daughter Jada and son Saquon Jr. How about that stretch for Saquon?
It's pretty impressive. Let's hope it keeps going.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Well, something you hear a lot about the two guys that we're talking about tonight, besides the fact that they are great football players, is that they are both enjoy giving back to their community.
Yes, they always have. Jahan Dotson holds a free annual football camp for kids. This video is from 2022 at the Charles Crane Community Center there in Palmer Township. That same year, he was still with the Washington Commanders at this point. He helped raise money and awareness for the American Cancer Society through the My Cause, My Cleats initiative. As for Saquon Barkley, he's also taken part in a number of football camps for kids. And along with his family, he's created the Michael Ann and Saquon Barkley Hope Foundation, which has spearheaded a number of events in the Lehigh Valley. They actually held a fundraising gala last October at the Saucon Valley Country Club with the goal of helping underprivileged children.
It's great. It's always great to be back home, especially on a bye week. That's the beauty about being close to home. I feel like God put me in a great position to have a platform and use my talents to play in the NFL, but also with that, I'm able to get back.
And give back he does. That foundation partnered with St. Luke's, by the way, to open up a sports rink in Whitehall in 2022. Last year, they announced another partnership, this time with AthLife, to support local student athletes. Also, Saquon has volunteered at a homeless shelter in New Jersey called the Covenant House, and he's helped raise awareness about a rare genetic condition that his niece suffers from called 22q.
Early in his career, Saquon Barkley made quite an impression on a little girl from Allentown. You may remember Gianna Evans. We told you about her back in 2018 when she was just 5 years old and known as the sad Saquon girl, thanks to a viral video.
Why are you sad?
I don't want Saquon Barkley to go away.
Well, that was when Saquon was leaving Penn State to go pro, and he was kind enough to respond to Gianna's video with one of his own. And just a few months later, little Gianna got to meet Saquon when Copley honored him with a parade.
It is as good as it gets. Jahan Dotson has some super fans too. In fact, in 2022, Nazareth sent 6 busloads of them to Washington to see him in action with the Commanders. The following year, August 27th, 2023, was declared Jahan Dotson own day in the borough of Nazareth. And Saquon got his own day too. March 14th, 2018 was Saquon Barkley Day in all of Pennsylvania. And as we mentioned earlier, Copley threw him a parade and a party that same month. Whitehall High School retired his jersey you saw there in 2021, and he will be inducted into the Whitehall Copley Hall of Fame later this year. Okay, we want to know how you are getting into the Eagles spirit in advance of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, these cheerleaders in Copley learned a routine to honor the star running back, Saquon Barkley. And you can upload your video and your pictures at WFMZ.com. And we'll be back after this commercial break. And here is round 2 of trivia coming your way.
I'm Saquon Barkley, running back in the New York Giants, former running back for Whitehall High School, and you're watching The Big Ticket.
And that was Saquon Barkley way back in 2019, giving a shout out to our award-winning high school football showcase, The Big Ticket.
As you might imagine, both Saquon and Jahan Dotson made a lot of our highlight reels during their playing days in the Lehigh Valley. Saquon finished his career at Whitehall with 3,646 rushing yards and 63 touchdowns, and he was named Mr. Football in the state of Pennsylvania in 2014. As for Jahan, he set school receiving records for receptions, yards, and touchdowns in Nazareth. And by the way, he also ran track and played basketball in high school, just like Saquon. So we're going to be looking back a lot at what these guys did at high school here in the Lehigh Valley. But one of the cool things about all this is now the whole country is getting to see what a good person Saquon is. We saw that way back then. One cool story from Saquon in high school when he was a senior, as we mentioned earlier, he ran track, a phenomenal athlete, so he won a district gold medal in the hurdles. Then the girls event goes, and a young lady won, but she was disqualified due to a really minor infraction. Everybody felt like she really should have won. She was crying on the side, really distraught and upset. Saquon walks over, takes the medal off his neck, puts it around her neck. I mean, if that doesn't tell you what kind of kid he was then. And the cool thing is now everyone's getting to see this.
Exactly. The legend of Saquon started then. And like you said, everyone's getting to see it. And you only have to look at social media and see the posts. As we've said, you know, Eagles fans kind of get a bad rap. Not everybody in the country loves Eagles fans.
Not everyone.
Believe it or not. And a lot of people saying, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I am rooting for the Eagles because of Saquon Barkley.
People are saying, don't like the Chiefs, don't like the Eagles, but Saquon I can get behind. Go Eagles.
We want Saquon to get a ring. As I said, he is America's sweetheart.
Yes, he is. That's right. Let's make that an official patented name there. Well, 2 of the many people following Saquon and Jahan in the NFL, of course, are their former high school football coaches.
Yeah, and 69 News checked in with them recently. Dane is back now with more on that.
And Saquon Barkley's success isn't surprising at all to his former coach, Brian Gilbert. Gilbert told us Saquon is the kind of player who will do whatever it takes to improve. Saquon was on his radar long before he became his official coach at Whitehall High School.
I was fortunate enough to see him grow up at Hockendakwa Park and play youth football for the Hockey Eagles. And I just remember practice would be over and there were a few kids, my son being one of them, running around and still wanting to throw the football. And there was Saquon Barkley at a young age that just loved the game and had that, you know, smile that we all see today.
And then over in Nazareth, Tom Falzone says Jahan was the best player he's ever coached. He said Jahan could do anything they needed with the football. Catch it, run it, he could throw it. Even so, Jahan had to contend with some naysayers, but Falzone says he proved them all wrong.
For me, he came out here and everybody said he's too small, he doesn't have a Big Ten body. And look what he did at Penn State. You know, he proved everybody wrong and had an amazing career there. And then everybody questioned, what about the NFL? But he ended up being a first-round draft pick. So the kid has done things, he surpassed expectations, and he just works so hard and just continues to perfect his craft.
Certainly so. Both coaches say they still keep in touch with their former superstars, and they feel pretty good about their chances of coming home with a Super Bowl ring. Wendy, Jim, back to you.
Let's hope they're right about that. We're feeling good, too. Yeah.
Totally.
If you were lucky enough, by the way, to catch Saquon or Jahan in action back in their high school days here in the Lehigh Valley, you really didn't have to fork over too much for the tickets.
Now, though, Another story completely, yeah. Tickets for Super Bowl 59 are, as you might expect, expensive. Earlier today on StubHub, the cheapest options were approaching the $3,000 range. And those are the nosebleed seats, by the way. Getting closer to the field is going to cost you upwards of $6,000 or $7,000. And they were tickets that were going for a lot more than that as well that sold.
Those are the ones that are left.
Right.
So with prices like those, of course, tickets are out of reach for a lot of fans. But one lucky West Reading Eagles fan will get to catch the big game in the Big Easy. J.D. Turner won tickets in a charity event through the nonprofit Safe Berks. And take one guess who he's most excited to see.
Saquon Barkley is my favorite player. I just can't wait to see him play in person. It's going to be unreal. That hurdle, I can't, like, it just plays in my head. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be awesome.
The famous hurdle against the Jaguars, move of the century there. JD's dad, by the way, was a big Eagles fan, but he passed away 6 years ago. So JD will be wearing his dad's jersey to the big game.
That's great.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, Eagles green is popping up all over the place.
It really is. Even the Free Bridge between Easton and Peaburg. Look at that, showing its true colors in support of the birds. We'll be back with more after this, but first here is round 3 of our Made in the Lehigh Valley trivia.
bensound.com.
Of course, lots of football players dream of playing in the NFL one day, but very few get to actually do it. But by the time he had cemented his status as a star player for Penn State, Saquon Barkley knew he was NFL bound. He left Happy Valley after his junior year, declared for the NFL draft. And back in 2018, he spoke with 69 News a few weeks before the draft about how he expected to react after hearing his name called.
If I end up crying, that just shows all the tears and the hard work that I put in to get to that moment and get to that spot.
Of course, we know by now that he was picked up by the Giants with that #2 overall pick. He scored his first NFL touchdown, a 68-yard run in the season opener that year against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And Saquon Barkley is not the first Whitehall grad to do big things in the NFL. Linebacker Matt Millen from the class of 1975 played 12 seasons in the NFL and walked away with 4 Super Bowl rings. Dan Copen, class of 1998, won Super Bowls with the Patriots in 2003 and 2004 as an offensive lineman. And as for other local guys who played for the Eagles, Bethlehem Catholic grad and tight end John Spagnola put in 8 years with the Birds starting in 1979. Allentown Central Catholic grad Tony Stewart, also a tight end, was drafted by the Eagles in 2001. And of course, there's the legendary Chuck Bednarik, Concrete Charlie, one of the league's last two-way players who famously knocked the Giants' Frank Gifford unconscious in 1960. He was the first overall draft pick in 1949, and he stuck with the Eagles for his entire 14-year NFL career.
And those are some of the toughest players in NFL history, too. Certainly Concrete Charlie and Matt Millen. Let's spend a little bit more time on him now, because like Saquon, he was a Whitehall High School and Penn State grad. After his playing days, he was an NFL commentator for many years. Matt wore number 83 at Whitehall. That has since been retired. And he remembers the very first time he heard about Saquon.
My brother coached him. He said, hey, we got this kid who's really special. I mean, he can make people miss. He's got speed. He's got a chance to be something special. And I said, oh, that's great. I said, how's he doing? How's he doing in the league? He goes, oh, he's not playing. He's behind a senior.
Yeah, that didn't last long. Millen was inducted into the Whitehall High School Hall of Fame in the year 2000. And as we mentioned earlier, Saquon will be there very soon himself. He will be inducted this fall. And by the way, he is expected to attend that ceremony. Stay with us. Made in the Lehigh Valley. We'll be right back.
bensound.com.
Watch TV. I don't need the game needs me. Call me Mr. Must
And welcome back to our second half hour of Made in the Valley, the road to the Superdome.
Yep, all about our two local Eagles, Saquon Barkley and Jahan Dotson. The 69 sports team, of course, has been covering them for years now, back to their high school days.
Yeah, so let's go live once again to Dan Moscartolo and Dave Lesko down in New Orleans. Hi, guys.
Hey there, Wendy and Jim. We're going to go now revisit an event from opening night that was really interesting, featuring the third member of our broadcast team who was here. He's been doing a great job with us all week, Roberto Vinces. And for those who don't know, opening night media sessions, it's a scrum. You're getting knocked around, you're taking elbows, you're trying to get into position. Saquon Barkley's podium was very, very crowded.
It was very, very crowded, and you got to give Roberto credit because he had to think of this not just the night before. I mean, this was in the weeks in the making, and for him to pull this off was something else.
Yep. Here's Roberto Vinces on opening night, greeting at Saquon Barkley.
Let the madness begin. The Caesars Superdome is buzzing with energy, delivering the ultimate fan and player experience.
Oh my goodness gracious, this is insanity.
It's a moment for myself to come and check out, to step on the field, and as you can see, it's amazing.
Fly Eagles fly, baby, go Birds!
But wait, while every Eagles player is a key piece of the puzzle, one name stands out for fans back at home in Whitehall, Saquon Barkley. Everyone wants to talk to him. So how do I grab his attention and make this story even more local? I got it, his alma mater, not Penn State, Whitehall.
We're waiting, man. We are waiting to see if he sees us.
Let's see if this does the trick.
Saquon! I think this is as close as I'm gonna get.
After a while,
Saquon. What's this helmet? This helmet right here. What's it mean to you?
It means a lot to me. I definitely can think back if I was having a conversation when I was 16, 17, 18-year-old, and I told him that, you'll be playing the Super Bowl, he'd be really happy. So when I see that, I think of where I'm from, I think of Zephyr Tough and all the things that helped me get to the point I am today.
You mentioned your best touchdown was against the Rams in the snow. We're from WFMZ, the big ticket. You know that.
Yep.
What's the best touchdown you scored for Whitehall?
Probably the one that broke the record against Liberty. Had a long run up on the sideline. I remember that I needed one more touchdown to break it, and when I scored, I gave a pump. And Mr. Hartman was in the corner right there, so I'll say that one.
Will you bring the Lombardi Trophy to the Lehigh Valley if you win it?
Hey man, if that's in God's plan, I would love to do that.
All right, Roberto, great job. And did you notice how that helmet was quietly removed after a few seconds? I think if it were up to Saquon, he would have left it up there the whole session.
Yeah, first of all, perseverance pays,
yes.
For Roberto. So good news for him. But yeah, if found, please return that helmet to Bob Hartman, Athletic Director, Whitehall Copley School District.
Yeah. Great stuff there. And, hey, Jim, if you come across the helmet over the next few days in the Lehigh Valley, will you let us know? We're kind of curious where it is right now.
We will keep an eye out for it for sure. I did like the fact that Saquon immediately had that wry smile as soon as he noticed that Whitehall logo on the helmet. But, guys, listen, we have a lot of experience combined with the big ticket. We were there as these two guys were going through. One of the cool things has been seeing their growth as a person. Saquon in particular, I remember talking to him as a sophomore. Nobody knew who he was yet, and interviewing him, and he was like a deer in the headlights. He was all nervous. Now, watch how he carries himself before a global audience. It's just so cool to see, as you guys have noticed too, I'm sure, him grow not just as a player, but as a person over the years.
Yeah, I mean, I know it. I can echo what Jim is saying, but not so much just as a sophomore, as a junior, as a senior. He kind of was the same way. I used to go over there for practices all the time. I didn't shoot too many games with him in there, but he obviously has matured, as Jim said, because they had him back when he was at Penn State, and he ran out into the gym and ran back off, and he didn't want to say anything. He was deer in the headlights, but right now he's the top of the world.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one of the most popular NFL players in the playoffs now. And then when you look at everything that he means to this Eagles team on the field production-wise, the way he gets along with his teammates, the way he gets along with his coaches, and then everything he does when he comes back to the Lehigh Valley, too, as far as his involvement with various charity endeavors, the Devontae Smith Celebrity Softball game, too. It's just, you can tell. I mean, he had the Whitehall logo inscribed on his jacket, on the inner part of his jacket, on draft night. So that the kid's just a class act top down.
Yeah, I mean, it's for him to not be upset with not getting a rushing record that was 40 years old. That says a lot when you're 101 yards away from breaking a 40-year-old record. And hey, he just wants a Super Bowl ring. As long as he gets a Super Bowl ring, the record doesn't really mean anything to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Team guy.
Truly. So, Jim, yeah, I mean, it's been impressive. I mean, to see him over there is you two. You and Dave, certainly. I wasn't really involved with the Lehigh Valley scene when Saquon was coming through. I was more in Berks, but just to see what he's turned into over the last few years has been impressive.
And I have a quick story. Last Sunday, or at the NFC Championship game, we're waiting in his locker for him to come back from the shower, and one of his teammates is helping him take his jersey off his shoulder pads, and I'm standing right in front of him, and I say, hey Saquon, can I have that? And he just looked with his big smile, and he shook his head, and then he tucked it away in his duffel bag. And I'm sure that's going to be on NFL auctions going for buku dollars.
Yep.
I would think so. All right, guys, thanks. Appreciate it. We will talk to you in a little bit.
Yes, thanks, guys. And it is hard to imagine a time when Saquon wasn't dominant on the football field, but that was the reality at first. Sports journalist Rich Scarcella said he still remembers when Barkley was riding the bench as a freshman at Whitehall. He had to work his way up to the starting lineup, and Scarcella covered Jahan Dotson, too, another Penn State grad.
Penn State fans generally are pulling for these two guys to win a Super Bowl ring, and not just because they're from Pennsylvania and from Penn State, because they're genuinely good people.
Scarcella considers Jahan underrated during his time at Penn State. He said Jahan had an All-American type season in 2021 with 12 touchdown catches, but unfortunately he was not named an All-American. And just a reminder that you can find all of our coverage on Saquon and Jahan at WFMZ.com. You can click on the Philadelphia Eagles box at the top of the screen.
All right, as soon as the clock winds down on Sunday night, it is go time for the merchandise makers.
Yeah, fans are going to be clamoring for that championship gear bright and early. We found Eagles fans scooping up NFC championship swag as soon as the Birds sealed the deal last week. And before we get to our next trivia question, here's a bonus question for you. Which Eagles jersey is the top seller this season, according to the NFL shop?
It's a tricky one.
Yes, it is. And of course, it is our very own Saquon Barkley.
Ben's down button. Well, Eagles fans, remember this. It's a scene they hope to see again very soon. Thousands of them cramming into Philadelphia back in 2018 to see the Super Bowl champs parade down Broad Street. And, of course, you remember that impassioned speech by a very well-dressed Eagle, the now-retired Jason Kelce, dressing as a mummer, delivering that speech, which, of course, now is part of Eagles lore. Who could forget that? Now, Eagles fans have taken a bit of heat over the years, been called rude, obnoxious, sometimes the worst.
We like to think of them as passionate,
yes,
of course. And Dane is back with a look at how some local Birds fans are getting ready for Sunday.
Certainly passionate. No matter what your opinion is of Eagles fans in general, you just can't hate on the Heritage Hotties. They're great. You've seen them here on 69 News before. Well, this week, the Heritage Hotties from the Heritage of Green Hills Senior Living Community in Cumru Township, Berks County, got to strut their stuff on the Today Show. They've been working on some special cheers ahead of the big game. Meantime, in Jefferson Township, even the cows are for the Birds. The calves at Wayhar Farms are wearing special jackets with the Eagles logo, and they've temporarily rebranded their pints of homemade ice cream as Swoops Scoops in honor of the team's mascot. Yum. And sometimes Eagles fans are just the cutest. Here's 3-year-old Maisie from North Whitehall doing a little dance to celebrate an Eagles win. You know, if everything goes according to plan, she'll be shaking it again come Sunday. Remember, you can send us pictures and videos to let us know how you are celebrating the Eagles. Go to our website, WFMZ.com/share. Wendy, Jim, back to you.
Thank you, Dane. And we love to see our Eagles fans in action. Giants fans, not so much.
No.
They're not really feeling that great after this season.
Not feeling great. Not only did they lose Saquon, they also won just 3 games. So in light of that, we decided to send our Rick Holmes into Giants territory, offering a consolation prize.
Well, here we are at MetLife Stadium. The Giants didn't actually start playing here at what was then Giant Stadium until 1976, and the Meadowlands would never be the same. It's been a tough season for Giants fans. Their owner, John Mara, was recorded saying he would have a hard time sleeping if Saquon went to Philadelphia. Then they won only 3 games and saw the Empire State Building lit up in green and white when the Eagles won the NFC Championship, thanks largely in part to a player who was once theirs. Surely there is some small thing we can do to say thank you. And then it came to us. Philly pretzels. Who could say no? Our first stop was the Giants training facility. The Giants came into the NFL in 1925. The franchise fee was $2,500, which is only a little bit less than what Saquon Barkley is currently making hourly. Security at the facility rolled up and provided a weak defense for our peace offering. Would you like a Philly pretzel? I'm good. Hey, your Giant Philly pretzel for Saquon. Oh, come on. You're not hungry? Over at Red's Restaurant in the shadow of MetLife Stadium, a picture of Saquon still hangs on the wall. The Giants fans drink away their sorrow, wondering what might have been. Our gift of pretzels wasted on these salty patrons. Giants fans, we got you gifts. We got you gifts. How about some nice Philly pretzels there, Doug? See if the Giants fans gonna nosh on the Philly pretzel.
Got a special place in the garbage for this. Thank you.
From the Eagles fans to the Giants fans.
They say you guys are so nice.
A little present from Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Oh, thank you very much.
Some Philly pretzels from the Philly Pretzel Factory. Yeah? Anyone need a Philly pretzel? Do you think can Eagles fans and Giants fans ever get along?
I don't think so.
It just goes to show that Eagles fans and Giants fans are separated by a lot more than the Jersey Turnpike. Rick Holmes, 69 News.
So true.
It is true. And I'm glad Rick went to a sparsely attended bar just in case it wasn't received as well.
Very good point.
Yeah, all right. Count Dorney Park, by the way, among the local places cheering on the birds.
Absolutely. Eagles flags are flying high atop some of the amusement park's tallest attractions, like the Dominator Drop Tower and the Iron Menace roller coaster. And that support doesn't stop when the sun goes down either. Notice the green lights there, too. Made in the Lehigh Valley, the road to the Superdome. We'll be right back.
This is like pretty much all I've dreamed of as a kid. So, I'm really excited for the opportunity. The inner kid is kind of coming out of me every day. I can't believe I'm in the Super Bowl, but it's an awesome experience.
And that was Jahan Dotson talking to our Destiny Sanchez after the Eagles punched their ticket to the Super Bowl.
Jahan, as you know by now, grew up in Nazareth, and he will have the whole community in his corner this Sunday.
69 News reporter Michelle Wolf is joining us once again. This time she is in Blue Eagle country with more on how they are cheering on their favorite Philadelphia Eagle.
That's right, Wendy and Jim. People are excited for Jahan. We spoke with students at Nazareth Area High School who told us they're proud at what he's achieved. And we even spoke with one teen who sits at Dotson's old desk.
You see posters of him everywhere. It's really cool.
Giuseppe Galina is a student at Nazareth Area High School and just so happens to sit in the same seat as Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver Jahan Dotson.
Go ahead, Jahan! So it feels really I feel honored. There's a lot of hype about him. Everyone feels proud to know that he used to go there.
The 24-year-old Eagle has left quite an impression on his hometown.
It's very exciting. I know I drop off my youngest son at the intermediate school, and they have by the windows, go number 83. You feel proud, and you just feel happy that someone from the area is in the Super Bowl.
The guy walking down the street who grew up in this neighborhood, basically, now he's playing the biggest stage on earth. It's really awesome.
Oh, I think it's great. I know all the kids are excited around town.
Nazareth's head football coach, Tom Falzone, isn't the least bit surprised by Dotson's success.
John was the absolute best receiver that I've ever been around as a coach, and he was amazing what he did here. He could catch it, he could run it, he could throw it. whatever you needed, he would get it done for you.
Falzone tells us Dotson even continues to train at his high school's gym whenever he's in town.
We open that up for him. He's running routes or he's running the hills outside. He's just been a part of this community, and he keeps coming back, and we're so proud of him. When he's home, he stops by here all the time. That's the beautiful thing about Jahan. You know, he hasn't forgotten where he grew up and where he's been.
Dotson's former football coach also has a message for Jalen Hurts. Look for Jahan and throw him the ball this weekend. Live in Nazareth, Michelle Wolf, 69 News.
Michelle, we second that.
Preferably in the end zone.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, the Birds being in the big game is pretty sweet for local bakeries.
It is. They're getting in on all the action with some Eagles-themed treats at Sweet Girls Bakery in Easton. That includes green cupcakes and jersey-shaped cookies. Good to see our 2 local guys represented there as well. We'll be right back.
Love to hear it. Eagles fans made sure their favorite team had a proper and loud send-off on Sunday. Hundreds of them braved the cold at the link to see the Birds before they left for New Orleans. And they had some bold predictions for how things are going to go down Sunday.
What's your score prediction for the Super Bowl?
50-0.
50-0. How many yards is Saquon going to rush for?
Over 500.
Over 500. Over 500 yards.
Could do it. All those diehards were rewarded with appearances from some of the top players, including, yes, of course, Saquon Barkley himself.
He might win the MVP if he goes for 500.
Yeah, certainly should. I'd like to see it.
Would bode well, yeah.
All right, so one last time, let's check in with our crew down in New Orleans.
That's right. Dan and Dave, take it away.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a fun week. Being able to not only catch up with Saquon and Jahan, but to visit the Eagles at the various media sessions and get their thoughts, and a lot of great sound bites that have come out of this week. But I think also just seeing New Orleans and showing the fans and viewers at home so far about what this week has been like beyond the X's and O's, getting out around town, the great food that we've eaten, and it's been a lot of fun. It's gone by really fast. Can't believe we only have one weekday left until we hit Super Bowl weekend.
But we're ready for Super Bowl 59 to get here. I mean, let's face it, that's kind of why we're down here, and there's a lot of people, a lot of Eagles fans on the street. There's a lot of 26 jerseys, not too many 83 jerseys, and if there are, they're Vince Papale. So hopefully Jahan can change that with a big, huge game on Sunday.
Going to try to go to Bourbon Street tomorrow night, and I talked the bar owner story that we actually ran yesterday, and the Eagles were actually here in New Orleans earlier this season. They won that game, and those 2 owners said Bourbon Street was taken over by Eagles fans. I fully expect that to be the same way, if not up a couple of decibels tomorrow night on a Friday night here in New Orleans with the Birds.
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
And I kind of figured it. I had about an hour to think about this. So Jalen Hurts, shotgun position. The ball gets snapped. A.J. Brown comes around, gets the ball, pitches to Saquon Barkley. Pops into the end zone for Jahan Dotson, 6 points. They call it the EPC special.
It's been preordained. You heard it first. Dave, let's go.
Book it.
Dave and Dan, live in New Orleans. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, I'd love to see it, Dave. Yeah. It sounds great.
If there's a prop bet on that, let's hope that works out. Dan and Dave, thank you so much. It's just been awesome, hasn't it?
It really has been. And like they were saying, you see Saquon Barkley jerseys everywhere.
Yeah.
America's sweetheart.
America's sweetheart.
Hashtag it.
Wendy is patenting that new nickname for number 26. All of our Eagles coverage is at one place, by the way. Go to WFMZ.com and look for the green banner on our homepage. And
plenty of it there.
Yeah, it's pretty surreal. By the way, one thing I don't think we've mentioned before we sign off, these guys are new to the Eagles this year.
That's true.
Both their first year in Philadelphia, and look what has happened.
Bring home a ring.
The Lehigh Valley to the Super Bowl.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good night.